Hello everybody. This is, I guess, would be our third update since the storms began. I'm down at the emergency operating center located at the Park Department complex on Marymount Parkway. It's been a rough several days, I know, for a lot of folks. We still have 5,700 people without power. A big chunk of that is West Quincy, and the remaining is mostly Howes Neck. The National Grid will be working all day, actually probably the next couple of days, restoring power to everybody. Our tree crews, which is kind of related to the power because we've had trees that have taken power lines down, are out there in addition to our own crews, augmented by outside vendors as well, so we're appreciative of their efforts. Public Works is straight out, obviously. We're looking at one more real bad tide today, and once that finishes and starts to abate, the real work will begin. We've had crews out there working obviously on our public buildings, on the trees, on tide gates, and keeping streets closed, etc. So that will continue, but the cleanup phase will start to be addressed, and that's what we've been meeting on today. We met this morning with all our major department heads, and just by the way of information, by the way, C Street is still closed. Down by the Willows on C Street is still about 3 feet of water, and as the tide's coming in, that's only going to get deeper, so we do have the National Guard still with us that are helping us transport people back and forth. The Atherton House School is still open for folks. If you've been without power in Howes Neck, or you know some people without power, they need to get warm, the elementary school is available. There is food, and we have cots there for people. Also, Quincy High School. Quincy High School has about 32 people at it that slept overnight there, and we're grateful to the Red Cross and the Salvation Army for their help in providing, making it as comfortable as possible. Also, our school personnel that helped us with some of the food items and cooking, and even some of the custodians were helping out cooking at the schools, so we're grateful for all their efforts. You know, the governor and lieutenant governor have been in touch constantly, and I can't thank them enough for their help directing 5 units of the National Guard, which is tremendous. It was really a lifeline for us to get through to Howes Neck for folks, so we're grateful for them. They sent us MBTA buses to keep people warm between shelters. A lot of, obviously a lot of damage that I mentioned. We're going to start the assessment process. So where do we go from here? I mean, I know that you know, there's different levels of damage, and that's the things we'll be looking at. Our inspection service director and his team is going to be out in the neighborhoods this afternoon and tomorrow, looking at homes and making sure whether they're habitable or not, and in some cases may have to condemn some of the structures based on the damage. Those folks that might have minor damage and you'll be looking for some help with inspection services, we are keyed up for that. In other words, your power shut off and you had some issues, electrician comes in, he needs to get a permit from our electrical department. We'll be waiving the permit fees for any of that. We're going to try to be as helpful as we possibly can, as your local government should be. Part of the assessment going forward is not only what folks are going to have to do between their insurance adjusters and our inspection services, but also the public infrastructure. We have our engineering department, along with outside engineers that do work with the city, that this afternoon and all day tomorrow into Monday we'll be doing assessments. And what do I mean by that? I mean, we've got 8 miles of seawalls that the city owns, in addition to the state-owned seawalls. We're going to be looking closely at the seawalls to see what kind of damage may have occurred to those. We're looking at roads. We're actually pretty concerned about certain roads that took a beating. Not only the roads, and in some cases the roads along the waterfront may have shifted a little bit. When that happens, that has an effect on what's underground. So we're going to be TVing the sewer lines and looking closely and testing the water mains. I'm sure National Grid will also be looking at the gas mains. We're looking at the tide gates. Some of those tide gates took a beating as well and were heavily damaged. So those have to be addressed. So there's a lot of work to be done. The cleanup effort is going to be kind of, I guess, in 3 ways. One is, you know, in Public Works is coordinating this, Commissioner Grazioso and his team. One is to clear the roads of debris, the rock and sand and dirt that has blown up onto the roadways. That will be cleared. With all the flooding, I'm sure there's all kinds of stuff that floated out of backyards. It's all over the place, whether it's rubbish barrels, grills, or some debris that may have been in those yards. We're going to try to sift that out and collect that a little differently because it's a different a way to dispose of. And then the third piece is, as you, some of the folks that have had damage, you're going to be bringing your debris out to the sidewalk, I'm sure. Some stuff that you may have lost in the basement or whatever. So we're going to be encouraging you to do that in the coming days. We're going to provide special pickups for that. We are not going to be picking up construction debris. That's a separate disposal process. So, you know, we want to be helpful, so those pieces of furniture or rugs and whatever get destroyed and you want to put that out, we will be arranging, and we'll get more information to you on how that will occur. But if you're starting to do work to the house, we're not going to be able to pick up, you know, your drywall and studs and those kinds of things. That will have to be handled by your private contractors. We are in touch with the state to see if what kind of direct declarations will be declared or have been declared, or what kind of funding will be available. We're hoping, obviously, for public funding for some infrastructure damage we had, but also what may be available to individuals with their homes. So more to follow on that. You know, I know it's been a hard day, particularly those folks that were, you know, really hit. And I spent some time at the shelter at Quincy High last night and speaking to some folks, and they were telling me their story. And one of the folks on Siegel Lane, where they were just in the house, and the wave of water just actually knocked a wall right out of the house, and they lost everything. So there's been a lot of damage, and we're grateful that we didn't lose any life. We didn't have any major injuries related to the storm. There's always medicals going on, but as far as damage, or I should say any safety issues regarding to the storm, it did not occur. So that's something to be thankful for. This was a very, very difficult storm. Again, one more tide cycle to get through. Well, the city, your representatives, and I'm grateful for all our elected officials checking in with us and helping to get the word out. We ask you to continue to tune in on social media, QATV, and certainly the phone number for the operating center, 617-376-1105. If you have any questions relating to some of the items I discussed, you can call them. Department of Public Works, Sewer and Water side, will start the pumping operation probably late today or tomorrow once the tides have fully receded. And if you haven't gotten on a list, you can get on a list for that. Again, we'll be helping you out with pumping. Most communities don't do that. We do that in Quincy, so 617-376-1910 to get on that pumping list. And I would just ask people to be patient. There's only so many pumps and so many crews. We will get to you eventually. So again, thank you to everybody that came together and worked so hard. Police and fire and public buildings and park and forestry and public works. You know, our outside help from National Guard. Again, thanks to the Governor, Lieutenant Governor for checking in constantly to see what our needs are. Thank you to the Red Cross. Thank you to Salvation Army, school department, everybody that just stepped up. And we have people that have volunteered and called, what can we do to help? Certainly we invite and ask everybody to keep these people in your prayers that were so dramatically affected. It's a life-changing event for some folks with the loss of their home. So stay tuned. We'll be back with you more information. And again, thank you to all.